All right, you see it, you feel it, you hear it, you taste it. It's coming. A lot of Studio 2022. And it's coming, and I'm so happy. All of you all that have supported one weekend. It's a tall ask. So we're about $24,000 away. But I know we're going to get there with your support, your love, and us pushing forward. We're going to make sure that June 16th is going to be a celebration of podcasts, performance, culture, gardening, so much more. Right here in the Legacy Detroit community. We're doing it in the community. Support. Detroit is different. That's funny. All right, so let's like. All right, back in full effect, Detroit is Different podcast studios with somebody that is one of my closest homies when it comes to a lot of this stuff in business and events and planning and just whatever we catch up, like even this. We've been talking for about an hour before we actually started rolling. My homie, tight. He's been here before, but it's definitely time to come back as he has something big coming up, connecting many DJs, a lot of the house music, a lot of the Afro Beat, a lot of what you want to feel, the real funk, the real soul, the neo soul, the eclectic, the creativity. Drake Phifer, how you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling great, Kari. It's great to be here, man. You know, always a pleasure, man. And I love the way you've grown. Detroit is different. The studio is fly as hell.
Thank you.
Man, you're just doing it, man. So it's great to be here.
All right, thank you. So we've done this before. So now upon our second interview, we get to like jump right into the business. So that's like how usual interviews are done. So you have a day party coming up. I remember I first got familiar with the concept of D.R.U.M M, as I was told, like maybe about 7-10 years ago.
Yeah.
When it was in Houston, and they was like, yeah, we going to a D.R.U.M. I'm like, a D.R.U.M? What the? I'm like, what in the like, right. You know, you in Texas, I'm thinking like it's going to be something like I don't know. I didn't know what it was. It's like, oh, a day party.
Yeah.
So it's a whole day party culture in a lot of these other strong, like cities where a bunch of black folks are. D.C., heavy day party culture.
Yeah.
Houston, Dallas, Atlanta, Oakland, L.A. definitely, like to the point where like in L.A., I want to say like the day party is stronger than the night party.
Absolutely.
What is going on with day party culture just catching on, especially entering into the Detroit market?
You know, I mean, I don't know. It's been around for a while. You know, I can't say that Detroit is that late to the party. There have been day parties here over the past decade, but you're right. It's bigger. It's something that's taken hold in a lot of other cities a lot more than it has here. But one of the things that I like about the day party, you know, I grew up in the 70s. I grew up on Studio 54 culture, disco era, you know, the warehouse, you know, hanging out late here in Detroit. It was always a thing to hang out late into the wee hours of the morning, 3, 4 in the morning, and basically sometimes leave the club at the crack of dawn. And that's something, man, at my age, I don't want to do that anymore. So for me, the day party is something that is actually it's quite convenient for me. I like it. It's like
functional purpose.
Functional, man. I want to be able to go to bed and wake up the next day and feel good. You know, I don't want to feel hungover. I don't drink as much anymore. That's another thing. But I just don't want to be tired the next day. So for me, it is a function of convenience for me to be able to have a day party. I think a lot of people agree with me. They don't want to be up all night. You know, you got kids, you got work, you got everything. You know what I mean? Your circadian rhythm is all thrown off. It takes you a whole day to get readjusted. So a day party is just cool. And the whole reason we even said, you know, one of my buddies in Chicago, who's actually Duane Powell, is the headlining DJ of this, posted about 3 or 4 months ago, day party is king, because somebody in Chicago was saying how they had so much fun at this day party. And I was like, that's the name. Day party is king for all the reasons that I just mentioned.
Okay. And you speak about it, and like it's a different feel because the other anchor with, especially like in DC and Atlanta, brunch culture connects to day party culture.
Correct.
And brunch culture, like when I was a kid, I remember we go to brunch like with my grandma. So like my whole orientation with brunch, you know, as a, being younger was like,
Going to
it'd
Mama's
be some
Country Kitchen.
pancakes. Yes, you already knew where I was at. Yeah. Old country buffet, like pancakes and syrup and turkey bacon, and like you sitting around, pastor gonna give a prayer.
Yeah.
It's a whole different, like, it's like, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, wait a minute.
We were talking earlier prior to this interview just how everything in life has just accelerated from where they were when we were younger, especially from when I was younger, which I'm a few years older than you, more than a few. But I think brunch culture actually follows along that same line. You can't just have a regular brunch anymore. It has to have bells and whistles. You have to have the margarita bar. I mean, you have to have
with a bartender that does specialty cocktails with these the special fruit that's only grown in this region of Hawaii. And you'd be like, what the? It's like, okay, so basically what you're saying is, I'm going to buy this drink at 1:00 in the afternoon, and it's going to cost me $30.
Basically, all the research, all of the far-reaching deliveries that we have had come in for this product have made it so that you have to pay an exorbitant amount of money to have this brunch now. Brunch was like a $5 deal back in the day.
Oh, yeah. It was.
No, it's not that anymore.
It was like pastor's pancake breakfast. It was pancakes, grits, eggs, and like one option that seems a little bit out of the ordinary, like maybe some fried chicken or fish or spaghetti or something.
Exactly.
Now, the fruit buffets on some of the brunches and stuff like that. Like, and I mean, I'm relating both because they seem so connected
and
of bringing what we used to think was quote unquote the club or nightlife.
Yeah. And
to daytime.
Exactly. And and though I'm not doing a brunch.
Yeah.
We are doing a day party. I do feel what you're saying on the brunch tip because I think that's going to probably be our next event. But as it relates to day partying, I mean, I think that this day party is special, and I think that day parties are special for the reasons that I said before. But this one is going to be particularly special because I think it really is highlighting some individuals here in the city who I think have been culture kings and queens, a culture king and queen in the city for a number of years, and have really, in my opinion, not gotten the recognition that they deserve. Zana Smith, the owner of Spectacles.
Oh, we love Zana. Shout out Zana. I love you, Zana. A person that was throwing a lot of those 6 a.m. parties.
Zana was
throughout her life.
Zana was throwing those 6 a.m. parties. Zana is someone who has been a retailer since 1972. She's had Spectacles in its same location since 1984. So we're talking about someone who's been in the game of retail for near 50 years and someone who's been in one location making an impact for nearly 40. Yeah. And in her space, I like to refer to Zana as her Spectacles as the little shop that could because it has impacted culture in a way that I think it might be invisible to many who are not know, but it's like who are not in the know, but it's like that saying, if you know, you know. And Zana has impacted everything from music to fashion to art and to literature. And so we're honoring her during this day affair, and we want to just make certain that the turnout is equal to what we feel is her stature in this city and what she means to lots of people. Lots of people feel that Zana is the soul of the city. She even made a shirt, Soul of Detroit, or Soul Detroit. I shouldn't say Soul of Detroit, Soul Detroit. And that shirt is one I've been in other countries and seen people wearing it.
Yeah.
If you go on the internet, you see people who are not even from Detroit sporting that shirt. It is synonymous with Zana. It's synonymous with Spectacles. There's a lot of history that Zana is connected to that I think is valuable, important history, and she is living history. And similarly, and Fiddler is living history as well. Here's a guy who started off with Enchantment. He's worked with jazz great Harold McKinney. He's worked with Of course,
Everybody. George Clinton.
George Clinton.
We talked when I interviewed him. One of my favorite, RJ's latest arrival.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I didn't even know Antwork RJ's latest arrival.
Yeah.
Seal, Kareem Bailey Ray, the brand new heavies, you name it. The list goes on and on for people who Amp has worked with. And again, Amp is somebody who I consider a friend, but he's not just a friend to me. He's a friend to the city. He's a mentor to many. He's responsible for the world even knowing about Dilla.
Yeah.
Through his introduction of Dilla to Q-Tip.
Yeah.
And so, here's somebody who has, again, invisibly, largely impacted the culture of Detroit and thusly the world in a way
Also,
that I don't think folks know, and we want to make certain they recognize.
Also, I always get this point anytime Amp Fiddler's brought up. The coolest person in any room.
Always.
Like, I can't even think of somebody that I think would be cooler. You're getting into high levels of cool with Amp Fiddler.
Man, nobody as cool as Amp. Nobody as cool, as Amp, man. It's funny because I had the pleasure of producing Amp's first concert appearance, and it took place at the Tangent Gallery probably nearly 20 years ago. About 18 years ago.
Wow.
And it was, I think, right before the Waltz of a Ghetto Fly album came out. And he killed it. But he got off stage. He said, man, I was so nervous. I said, nobody would ever know.
No.
He said, I was nervous, but because I rely on my instincts, I'm able to appeal to the crowd. I said, your instincts, if everybody had those kind of instincts, we'd all be that cool. But, like you said, no. Yeah, he's cool.
I mean, it's trippy almost. It's like you're going to, if he's in a room, you're going to notice him and you're going to want to say something.
That's right. Absolutely.
It's not many people like that. Like some people be like, that's a star. It's like, no, that is a star.
That's right. I mean, and, Amp's sartorial skills are matched by none. I mean, when his Amp walks in the room, his hat, his collars, his cufflinks, whatever, his pants, his shoes, you're going to know that you're in the midst of greatness, of somebody who's a very interesting and unique and wonderful human being.
Yeah. So this concept coming together, I guess we can get more specific. We talking around it. When, what, where, how do I get there?
This upcoming, not this Sunday, but Sunday, May 29th from noon until 10, we'll be having the Detroit Diaspora Day Party is King event at 2351 West Grand Boulevard, which is the Irwin House Gallery, which is an arts and cultures location that I just think is wonderful. It's growing. It's beautiful. It's run by a woman by the name of Misha McGowan, and it showcases some wonderful visual artists. We're going to be taking over the grounds of the gallery to make this event possible. We're going to have a tribute dinner for Zana Smith, who we talked about. We're going to have a tribute dinner that's in Zana's honor as well as Amp's honor. And then we're going to have DJs take over the backyard. So there's a side lot where we're going to have a wonderful tinted dinner that's going to be prepared by local chef Nick R. Cole of fried chicken and caviar fame. So we're going to also have a champagne toast that is provided by Clorinda and Richie Richardson. And it's going to be a great event where the artist James Morris is going to provide custom awards that we've created for both Amp and Zana. So we're really excited about it. We got some really great DJs. We're going to have face painters, Ifoma Stubbs and Trey Marcel there, who are going to be face painting and making people's face paintings in a tribal fashion. So, folks are going to be walking around there looking real cool. I don't know, just say the Asante tribe. I think that's where my family, I'm assuming my family came from the Asante tribe. But whatever tribe is your choice, they're going to try to do it up. And I don't know who what your tribe is. but I'm assuming we probably from the same tribe.
Possibly.
So, yeah, we probably from the same tribe.
It's like
so
Rosa Parks Boulevard. I'm just messing with you. So 12th Street, like, that's interesting. I was it's going to be a dinner. It's going to be what DJs are going to be there?
We're going to have DJ Righteous. We're going to have Marilyn Griffin of Griffin Gardens, Vernon English of the Tandem, and myself, and also Duane Powell of Chicago. Duane Powell's a wonderful, wonderful DJ out of Chicago. And then our very own Diviniti, who is a house music chanteuse, but she will be putting on a different hat on this day, and she's going to be a DJ. She's going to be a selector. So one thing I like about that is that because she is a singer in the house music realm, she's going to be playing stuff that people have never even heard that she gets from her friends, right? So that's what's going to make her set so interesting. But we're going to be playing all kinds of stuff. We're going to traverse the world of electronic music, from piano music out of South Africa, techno, house, you name it, soul, hip-hop. We're going to go everywhere. And anybody who's there is going to have what they feel. And I truly believe they're going to feel like they traveled around the world, even though they've stayed in one place, and they're going to be right here in Detroit. But we're going to take them on a real nice journey.
Okay, so this already sounds very interesting, of like a music array. What time and how do I get tickets?
You can go to urban-organic.net for tickets, or you can go to eventbrite.com and put in Detroit Diaspora. Either way, it will lead you to the ticket link. We do have more tickets available for the dinner, the tribute dinner, and we have more tickets available for the dance party as well. But if you are interested, please check one of those sites. We do have more tickets available. Like I said, it's going to be a great time. I mean, I think that one of the cool things about it is it's not just about the music. It's actually about the culture in its totality. And before I forget, it's going to be benefiting a wonderful organization. It's actually run by one of the DJs, Vernon English. Yes, and some of the monies will be going to the Miracles Foundation, which was founded by artist and DJ Vernon English, that will provide grants to students who are seeking careers in the arts.
Okay. What will I experience when I come? Like, what type of people will be there? Do I bring my wife? Do I bring my kids? Do I bring, just my homies? Like, what's the feel gonna be?
I'm glad you asked that. This is the type of event that you can bring your wife, you can bring your kids. I'm encouraging folks to bring their kids, because if we don't bring our kids to events like this, then the music and the culture dies. There's a disconnect. And we can even see that in society right now, with the disconnect in generations that haven't necessarily made an exchange culturally and musically and otherwise, that I think we can prevent from happening if we are able to engage our kids. So I encourage everybody to bring their kids, bring their wives, of course, bring your girlfriend, bring the young people, bring the old people. I think we're going to make it so that it's a fun time for all ages. Definitely is going to be a family-friendly environment. And so...
Okay, so you spoke to the kids can come, little homies in effect. Little homies are always cool, but along with that, you still adults are going to be key in making this vibe. Like, will it remind them of?
Let's back
like,
that up. Let's back that up. Because I don't want people to bring a whole bunch of kids out there.
Okay.
Because it's not going to be
like that vibe.
Because
okay.
Because if they start,
you can bring your kids.
Yeah, you can bring your kids. Because motherfuckers show up and they got teams of motherfuckers.
Yeah, I know.
We ain't got shit.
It's no bounce house. Exactly. All right. So hold on. Okay. So hold on. I'm gonna do this. All right. So for this event, who should come and what's gonna be the feel? Is it gonna remind me of the old, like, as like what will be the feel? Do I bring my homies? Do I bring my wife? Do I bring the little homies? Do I bring the kids? What's the feel?
You could bring older kids. I encourage older kids. I mean, don't bring little kids. I mean, a couple of them maybe, but we don't have bounce houses. It's not gonna be that kind of vibe. But I do think it is important to make certain that we keep the funnel of culture flowing, so that if you got some kids that are mature and don't need a lot of supervision, bring them, because I think they're going to get a lot out of this. But this is something that I think is a suitable event for all ages. And I certainly think that the music is family friendly. I mean, there'll probably be a little bit of cursing here and there, but there's not going to be the kind of environment. It's not going to be the kind of environment that you wouldn't want a younger person to be around. And also older folks. I think older folks, I mean, my own mother is talking about coming.
Okay.
But I think our core audience is going to be the people that like to go to festivals, that like to go to art galleries, that like food. So what is that? Who does that encompass?
That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people.
I don't know.
But it's definitely somebody that's like culturally more like on the pulse when I think festival. It opens. So like I may not even necessarily like, it's not going to be, because some events you go to and you feel like it's a dance flow that's everywhere. So I may be able to kick back. I don't necessarily have to get up there and sweat it out, because there's some people that take house music like serious. But it could be that. But it also could be just like, if I want to just kick out and vibe, I can do that.
Yeah, that's one thing I want. I like, I noticed that the folks that show up at my events are not necessarily the house heads. And I'm proud of that to an extent, because I think that the events that I've done actually drawn on what I consider music lovers. I have a friend in New York, and I'll post stuff, and sometimes and I say, I'm playing bossa. Like the other day I posted, I'm playing bossa nova, and she put a little frown face on my page, and I'm thinking to myself, who doesn't like bossa nova? How can you not love bossa nova? And I think the cool thing about the audience that we are inviting out, that we expect to show up next Sunday, is an audience that really enjoys an eclectic range of music. I mean, they want a little Fela with their Louis Vega, but they also, they want a little bit of her. They want a little bit of Robert Glasper, or they want a little, like I said, Amapiano, and they want a little techno. They want everything. They want to be able to dance, but they want a rich cultural experience, and that's what we're going to give them. And I think that when they walk away, they're going to say, man, this was not just about the music. Again, one thing I really like to say is that this is going to titillate, hopefully, all of the senses, because we have not only music, we have visual art. We have Yolanda Nichelle, who's going to be featured in the gallery. We have Anzi Norman, who's going to be featured in the gallery. Both visual artists who are going to have their works on display, who I think are going to really excite those individuals who are art lovers, and I'm excited about having them. But in addition to the music, the food, the art, the award ceremony, and the camaraderie that they're going to have with not only the people who are here in Detroit, but the people who are going to be coming from all over the country.
That's cool. So this definitely sounds it sounds like something to check out. What have you noticed as a person that's you've been doing events for a minute, man? You've promoted a lot of calls to action, especially around music.
Yes.
Do you notice a difference in just behavior between a day party and a night party? I got some things that I noticed, but what have you noticed the difference?
We both asked the same thing at the same time. You know what? I think people are generally more tame at a day party.
Okay.
There's something about being out in the sun and boogieing in the sun and, getting your groove on in the sunlight that does something different than being under the cloak of nightfall, being inebriated. It's a different vibe. And, not to say it's better or worse, it's just different. And this does go into the evening. So there is a portion of this that is in the evening. It'll probably be a good 2 to 3 hours of darkness towards the tail end. It's because we do go from noon until 10.
So along with that, one of the biggest things I noticed the difference, even the sound, because like that, if it's anything now, I kind of recognize it more. I don't go to nightclubs as much, but when I do go to a nightclub, it's like, damn, this is loud. Now I kind of get what they were saying. Day party sets usually aren't as loud. The music kind of more so like, it's like kind of like how I like my mics to be, like lays over the environment, meaning like I can have a conversation with the people I came with at a day party. At a nightclub, I assume I'm probably not going to be able to have a conversation with who I came with.
Absolutely.
Without shouting at them.
That's true. And hopefully, because we're outside, we're outdoors, you know, that's going to make a difference in your ability to be able to hear others too. We don't want to blow your eardrums out to the point where talking to the folks around you is not an enjoyable experience. We want you to be able to come and dance, but we also want you to be able to talk to folks. Because if you're not communicating with folks, then you're not going to want to stick around that long. Because if you can't talk and hear, then what's the...
Now I gotta press you on this because it's like three types of people that like their music loud.
Yeah.
DJs are one of them.
Yes.
DJs are always like, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up. I went to shout out, you mentioned her before, Jennifer Crawford, and what they do with the I forget what they even call that. The DTE Park, what is that? The DTE Park over there near the
I don't know the name of
the Lumen restaurant, but
I'm thinking about what she does at the Eastern Market, but
okay. But she did something with I can't believe I forgot the name of that park, but you know where they did the party. But yeah, I'm like, man, I was like, they are rocking. The DJ got it, boom, 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 blasting.
Yeah.
You know, like even with the Electronic Fest, the years I went, it'd be like boom, like to the point where I would damn near have to be so far away from one of the stages just to think through. Like, I think that helps that it's not that loud. And that may be me, that may be a sign of getting older.
Let me say this. It is going to be loud.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be overbearingly loud.
And why do you think, I guess that's the other question, I guess I would say, like, why do you think so many of the nightclubs have that overbearingly loud feel? Because you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. I don't know. You know, I mean, you know, I don't know where that whole idea of being so loud that you can't speak or hear comes from. But I think the sophisticated music listener likes to have their music so that it's conversational still, that you can have a conversation, that you can hear what's going on around you. You know, I mean, there are some neighborhood bars that I go to, and the music is off the charts.
Yeah, true.
And I mean, I'm like, you know, just if you just brought it down a little bit, this place would have so much more business. But you know what? A lot of times they still have business, but that's just not where I want to be.
To me, I think shout out to John and everything they're doing over there and his partners, but that's what makes Griot so cool.
Yes.
Because I know I can go in there, the music will be at usually like I can have a conversation.
6 or 7, maybe.
Yeah.
At the top.
Yep. Have a cool cocktail. It's black owned. It's like, it's cool. It's in the pocket. I can go here. I can chill. I can think.
Yes.
Whereas you're right. It's some even neighborhood bars where it's like, I know if I go here with Drake, I'm going to be like, all right.
Right.
So what you doing next week?
Exactly. Exactly.
You know, and then it's like, I also think that when the music is lower, it inspires a different feel, even with the dancing and the rhythm too. Hence, one of the coolest places I think for that, this is definitely zigging. If you guys ever go to Vicente's on a Saturday night or Friday night, the Cuban restaurant in Detroit, it's like it lays over so well because obviously it's still a functioning restaurant. That like, I think it moves the dance a little bit different, where people get a little bit more active in their dance and finger snapping and moving around a little bit differently than it being so like in your face.
Yeah, I think so. I think, you know, it's you know, it's a balanced vibe. You know, people like being able to, you know, you want to be able to engage all of your senses, and when one of them is cut off, like if you're dancing and somebody closes your eyes, that's not going to be as fun. So if you're dancing and somebody closes your ears because you can't hear anything else, or you're in a social environment where you can't utilize all of your senses maximally, then it's not going to be as fun. So you're right. I'm glad you referenced Vicenti's because I think that they get it right.
Yes, I mean it's definitely one of the places where I'm like, damn, and we know it's from a Cuban lens.
Yeah.
But I'm like, this can be replicated on so many levels, especially when we think of the dynamics of Black culture that exists in and around the city of Detroit.
That's
it
right.
should be, I should have the Vicente experience in damn near so many venues.
That's right.
But I mean, I'm a promoter, so I always think like that. And I know it takes a lot with the dance instruction and all of that stuff, but that can exist.
It sure can.
Shout out to everything Godwin's doing with Duane and the African drumming lessons with Young Village and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But things like that can happen.
Yeah.
You can have an offering from that same perspective.
Absolutely. You
in
sure
more
can.
of these spaces, and I think it welcomes a different energy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, because you sitting there, you eating, and then it's like, okay, we can come here next weekend.
Exactly. You know, I think, that's you make a great point. And with Sunday the 29th, we want to hit all the switches and we want to hit them properly.
I'm with it. So, like, in planning and working this out, kind of, I guess, shifting now as a promoter, doing this for so long, what has been some of the biggest changes in doing an event today versus before? And are some of those changes you think just changes that you would have made naturally just because you've grown in age and your audience has grown with you? Or are some of those changes just due to, you think, today and the way that people receive information or attend events or what their expectations of going to something have become?
I mean, the world has changed for all of us in the last 20 years, right? I started Urban Organic in November of 2001. And so it's been 21 years this year that I've been producing events. And when I first started, I wasn't DJing at all. I mean, I started DJing in high school, along with Norm Talley, and then in college later on, Kai Alce. But I wasn't a DJ. And I never intended to be a DJ. I enjoy booking talent, and I enjoy featuring up-and-coming artists, people who are now household names, Lettucey, Eric Roberson, Dwelle, PJ Morton, Avery Sunshine,
Raheem Devine.
Yeah. What's her name? The female Anthony Hamilton. Her.
Okay. Her. I was gonna say Jaguar.
Not her. I'm saying a female, Leela James.
Leela James. Yeah.
When I say her, you can't say her without.
Yeah. I'm thinking.
No,
her.
not her. But yeah, so Jasmine Sullivan. I had the opportunity to work with Jasmine Sullivan. It's nice to work with these people and to have really not only helped them in Detroit, but helped them in other markets get a foothold to the point where these folks, they don't need folks like me anymore. They have their careers are set. And I think we came along, me and the people that I work with came along at a time where social media wasn't the way it is now. No. There were gatekeepers to the culture, to the stages that these folks came to 20 years ago, 24 years ago. 17 years ago. And those were all opened up when social media, you don't have to come through a Drake Phifer in Detroit or a Mark Powers in D.C. or Freddie Luster in Atlanta or a Kadar Coleman in Chicago. You don't have to go through any of these people to actually trumpet your show that you're coming to town to perform. You can do that on your own now. Eric Roberson now can make contact. Eric Roberson doesn't need to do it anymore, but Eric Roberson he has an email list that he has grown for the last 20 years that's probably bigger than anybody's around here of people in Detroit who have come to his shows.
I think Zoe does a great job of that big time as far as
Zoe.
connecting direct
Yeah.
to
That's right.
the fan base.
Yeah, Zoe comes out of the Eric Roberson School of Thought. You know, Zoe and Eric have worked together enough for Zoe to be able to glean the things that Eric does, and anybody who's seen Eric do what he does knows that he does it the best.
Yeah.
Nobody does it better. I mean, Eric, I saw an article that talked about Eric Roberson, and it compared Eric to Jay-Z. And I know a lot of people who don't know who Eric Roberson is probably thought that was funny. Or those who know him probably thought it was funny too, because they're like, Eric Roberson, Jay-Z, how does that even fit into the same sentence? But if you look at the mechanisms of his success and the innovation that he employed to achieve it, I think you'll start looking at it a little differently and really appreciate what he has actually accomplished.
Oh, most definitely. I think Eric Roberson's I don't know if I want to say work ethic as much as I want to say his approach towards being an independent music artist at a point in time, really, where you definitely had have the resources available and enough talent to be in that space with a Kenny Lattimore or Maxwell or so many others, Eric Benet, and they probably be the first people to tell you that.
Yeah,
but
without a record deal.
He leaned into being an independent artist and working with promoters such as yourself and like turning over stones in a way that like a James Brown would.
That's right.
Is phenomenal.
That's right. And so when you ask me how do I think things have changed, social media has changed. The way people get their music has changed. People don't go to record stores anymore to get their music. People don't listen to the radio. They don't even listen to it in the same way anymore. People listen to their music in these silos now, really. These algorithmed silos that have them listening to the things that they like, which is not necessarily a bad thing because that's all you were doing with radio. I mean, in some ways it's more expansive, but then in other ways it's more segregating.
I like that you presented it like that. Now I'm going to ask you the same thing I asked Piper, and I guess I could be asking myself too. The urban organic playlist, because right now the playlist has become like the new radio.
Yeah.
Urban organic playlist.
Yeah.
When, what, how, where will that be?
Something, I like to put together playlists every so often, and I do it probably a couple times a year. A lot of times I'll do it up on request.
Yeah.
And depending on who asks me, I will curate that request for that individual's style of taste.
Yep.
But I'm a Spotify guy, man. I'm a Spotify guy. I know there's a lot of hate from a lot of folks as it relates to Spotify because of some of its payment practices. But Spotify also happens to be one of the best as it relates to curating. I like Spotify's algorithm as it relates to discovering new music.
I agree with you, and even during definitely everything that happened with Joe Rogan, people were definitely like, I hate Spotify. But then you find out, like, the percentages are bad all the way around.
Yeah.
And it's not like even when I think the whole concept, I remember when I did my last record and one of the producers was like, why are you still pressing CDs? Because it's like, I need a physical copy. It's like people don't even have a CD player anymore. And I'm like, I give you that. Maybe I should have got vinyl, but I need something that's transactional where I can exchange this. Yeah. I don't just need digital stuff because I don't know what's being played and what's not being played, who's playing it, how much money I'm getting. It's like that whole world as a lot, not to get too nerdy about it, but like, during the time when Neil Young and a lot of those artists said, we're taking our music off of Spotify, it was way more of the margins of percentage they got. But some of those artists ended up with Neil Young, for instance, ended up with a big deal with Amazon Music, which basically their practices are the same. It's like the difference between when you go from Verizon to T-Mobile. Like
PayPal to Cash App to Venmo.
Are there certain differences? Yes. But is it so drastic where it's like this music option is giving you 60% of your money versus this one giving you half a percentage of a penny.
Listen, at the end of the day, these services are providing what? A service. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we as the consumer benefit, and the artists benefit too. I mean, they may not get paid. Artists have always made most of their money
from the stage.
So get out there and tour. See, if you just want to be at home in your room making music on your homemade studio and not getting out here working, then you're not going to really reap the benefits of being a recording artist anyway that you would otherwise. I mean, you're never going to make all of your money from recording. So, you know, I mean, I get it that people have gripes with the payment systems of a lot of these things, but my thing is,
I mean, huge. Like, the machine is like, okay, here's the classic story. Yeah. And it was pretty big because I think this may have been one of the biggest songs maybe in American history.
Mm-hmm.
It's Pharrell Williams' Happy because it's a part of a Disney movie. I think it's one of the few movie songs that was on hip hop, urban contemporary. Yeah. It was on I don't know, adult contemporary. It was on top 40
They played it so
pop.
much. They play Happy so much that it made me unhappy.
And even off of 105 million plays, he received $6,300.
I did not know it was that stark of an amount.
So it's like, do I think I'm gonna end up with a song, and Sony got their percentage too, so it was more. But it's like, if I'm I guess confident and brash enough to think that I'm gonna make a hit song bigger than Happy,
$6,300 though.
$6,300.
Yeah.
I'll send you the article. So it's like, so if we're dealing with that, but when you do a song like Happy, that gives you access to, like, now you can score, I don't know, the Golden Globes or score the next Pixar Disney franchise.
Exactly.
Or something. Like, almost like the music becomes a gateway for other vehicles to present things, and definitely the music is always the trailer for the live show.
You just said it. I mean, a lot of people don't look at the bigger picture. A lot of artists don't look at the bigger picture. If they are stuck on what they're going to be making from these streaming services, if they're stuck on that, then they don't need to be a recording artist. You know, you need to be able to see the bigger picture and understand that these are the prelude. These services are actually tools for you to be able to get onto the on-ramp of making music and creating it a revenue stream from it. They're not the revenue streams themselves.
And see, I think you can do a little bit of both and in my mind. Like right now, Black Star's new album, you have to buy exclusively from them. Black Star, Talib Kweli, and what's it, Yasin Bey?
Yasin Bey, yeah, Mos Def.
And so you have to get from them directly. Kanye West had the whole hard drive that it was hard to encrypt, and he definitely sold way less, quote unquote, of units, but way more of a percentage when he got it. I think, Prince was big into that before he passed. So, like, I think you can do a yes and, meaning, like, you can have, this is my Spotify offering, and then if you want something exclusive, you can come to my website and get this exclusive stuff directly through me and my download
Absolutely.
option.
Or go to Bandcamp.
Yeah.
Bandcamp is when you want to make certain that the artist is making money, go to Bandcamp, because then you download those downloadables directly hit the artist's pocket in a way that they don't. But they have a different model.
Yeah.
And again, I love the Bandcamp model. It's just not set up in the same way. It's
not as accessible to, like, I got, I have Spotify too. Spotify has the commercial option, the non-commercial option. You can work playlists. I can share playlists with you now that I know you. Yeah. I need to start doing that anyway, because it's like different moods that we set, different vibes. Yeah, and like you say, the logarithms, if you set like 15 songs, it's going to play like, one of my playlists I have is, what I call it is the No Worries playlist, because it was this book. So it's like I had Alicia Myers, I Want to Thank You in my in that. So it pulled in the right other Alicia Myers song that were in that
can you share that with me?
perspective. Yeah, I'll do that. So yeah, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
this is an interesting, the way they work it is not the traditional way where it's
Correct.
like, okay, Britney Spears has a new album,
Yeah.
so we about to force this Britney Spears song into your playlist no matter what you think.
Yeah. And think about all the artists who get exposure on a Spotify. I learned of Cleo Soul via Spotify. I wasn't looking for Cleo Soul.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Cleo Soul?
I'm interested.
Man, when you listen, I mean, she's out of London, I believe,
Okay.
and she's definitely an artist that is making lots of
Waves.
noise. Oh my God, she has not made a song that I don't like.
Okay.
And Snow Allegra.
Yeah, Snow Allegra, Josh Adams, comedian, he loves that R&B, so he put me up on Snow
Tom Mish. I
Allegra.
would have never heard of Tom Mish if it wasn't for Spotify. You know, these are people who I think in recent years have become known to us over here stateside because of services like Spotify
or Apple Music,
or Apple
but I
Music,
think Apple Music and even
or Pandora.
Pandora.
All of
they're
them. I mean,
all,
this
they're
similar.
all a little bit different.
I'm lumping them together. You know,
yeah. So with that, in that same zone, what are you looking to do coming up soon? Like, what are some of the next experiences? Because that's where I've shifted, and I think it's a little overused, but it's just it's the right thing we're selling now. We're selling an experience.
Yes.
Because it's not a show offering anymore. We're not selling a showcase.
Yes.
We're selling an experience.
Right.
What experiences are you looking to connect with people? Because this right now, a day party is definitely a vibe. It's an experience. What are some of the next experiences?
I feel like people are asking for us as event producers to be creative. You know, that's our call. And if you have creative impulses like you or I, like you or me, like either of us have, I think that it's something that makes you, it just drives you to just come up with that next over-the-top idea. And I don't know if I've actually
Hit it.
honed in on that over-the-top idea, but I always feel, every time I do an event, I feel like I'm getting closer to it.
I got you.
Because I'm always learning something new every time I do an event. Even if, I mean, I've done events that have been wildly successful. I've done lots of events that haven't necessarily been successful. I mean, that's the nature of doing events.
Yes.
And you learn something from them. And
Let me tell everybody this, and I tell people this all the time. In business, you're gonna definitely learn a lot when you lose money.
yes.
That's the best business school.
Let me tell you this.
And then when you do an event and you take, I always joke and I even tell you, take the LL Cool J, but I love Ty Smith. Taking the LL Cool J is always tough. You know, but even in taking the L, it's a lot of lessons you learn because you're like, what did I not do? What stones did I forget to turn over and forget in my system?
Exactly.
Before you start pulling on like, hologramic Tupac and Biggie are doing a free concert at Ford Field and everybody down there, because it's like, if you're honed in and crystallized,
Yeah.
you could be competing with Christmas,
Yeah.
whatever other events,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Jay-Z, Drake, and Kanye West
Right,
all
right.
are doing a concert the same day,
Right.
and people will still come to what you got
That's right.
if you honed in.
That's right.
You know,
That's right. That's right. That's right. Absolutely. I mean, so when you ask what I think is in store, I'm just always, my mind is always turning, always thinking of things. And we were talking about some of the things earlier,
Yeah.
like the thing with the picnic baskets. I think stuff like that excites me. I mean, I don't want to be at the club all night anymore. I want to do things that fit into my lifestyle, the things that I like to do.
but with the dynamics of the club that you appreciate.
With the dynamics of art and music and culture and culinary arts that I enjoy. I want to be around people who appreciate those things too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, for me, I think it is definitely, about trying to figure out different ways to activate those things in those areas in a way that makes them fun and enjoyable and accessible to people. I want it to be accessible enough where it's not like I don't want it to always be if you know, you know.
Yeah, I got you. So where they're welcome and they can onboard to this experience
That's
the right
right.
way.
That's
so
right.
as you build out these experiences, does that put you more in a space like, are you, because I know at least for me, I used to look at stuff and say, I want to book this person or I want to do this. Now I don't even think like that anymore. I'm thinking like, who fits the vibe of what this is?
Yeah, you know what? When I'm thinking as a concert producer, I'm thinking about who I want to bring. So I'm definitely like, okay, who do I want to bring to do this, that, and the other? But when I'm thinking with my event producer hat on, I'm thinking, what can I do to make the wheel spin a little differently? How can I make that wheel spin backwards and forward at the same time? You know what I mean? I mean, of course I'm speaking figuratively, but how can I do something that takes it up a notch or gives it another look, that it didn't have before? How do I do that?
Okay. I like that concept. That concept. So when you say moving forward and backwards and just thinking outside the box in these offerings, so does that include, because I've gotten to this point, and I don't know when you started thinking like this or, how you approach it, but the venue matters, like you say, the food matters, the aesthetic of even the invitation, the social media approach, like almost like the more intentional everything is succinct, the more it makes sense from top to bottom.
Absolutely.
And the more it's not succinct, it just loses its flair. Because even the experience of, me, I still sometimes will print tickets up for events, but I even think the ticket is still a heck of a memento from the event, because when I look back at people, they collect them as collector items.
Yeah. And you know what? We're tactile beings. We like to touch. I mean, we're given a sense of touch for a reason. You don't want to just have everything digitally. Sometimes it's nice to have, like you said, a keepsake or something that makes it feel tangible. Like, I give you a ticket to an event versus emailing it to you. You're going to probably remember that ticket.
I mean, it's people that, like, I don't know if people are keeping the, like, this is definitely no shade towards the artist, but like, okay, here go a classic one. And I didn't go to it, but I heard enough people that went to it. If you dating black women, you probably definitely do. But that Maxwell Sade concert that they did a couple years ago.
Yes.
I know enough people that went to it that said, I love this show. If you got your tickets online, and I don't know if you printing off that email the same way that if you actually went to the box office and kept that ticket, the way that I know people still have tickets from like the Four Top shows, Temptations, Marvin Gaye, Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Anita Baker, like everybody that was like, I got to go see Anita Baker's final show. I know they want some type of keepsake from going out there to Vegas for that.
Exactly. I mean, I know I do. If I go someplace, I want to have something to come away with, that a souvenir, something that's like, okay, I was there, and I bought the T-shirt.
Yeah.
So
in making these events and experiences, are you? I mean, you're one person. How many of these details are you thinking as you go? Like, does it just flow together? Are you just always trying to say like, okay, well, I got 15 of these 20 things that I think I'm gonna need, so let's just do stuff with everything I already got?
Well, you know what? I'm not always a one-man band. I have what I call these ad hoc teams that pop up when I'm doing an event. And I like to say that I'm a great partnership builder. I get great partners to help me with events, and on this one, I'm working with Vern English and Righteous, but Vern English is a story event producer in the area. I mean, he does a number of events. He and his partner Bruce Bailey do stuff all around the city throughout the year, and so teaming up with somebody like Vernon just tapped me into an entirely different audience and a skill set that I didn't necessarily have. Some of them overlap, but some of them, it's nice to have another set of eyes and ears on things for events, and of course Righteous has been there helping with the Detroit Diaspora brand for the last 5 years. But in terms of overall urban organic functionality, yeah, it's primarily me on a day-to-day basis. But I tend to tap individuals on a contractual basis to work with me. I think that one of the things that I probably look at now more so than previously, I never wanted a venue up until recently. Because my feeling was that you had to be at a venue, you had to pay for a venue has to pay for itself 7 days a week.
Yeah.
You may have 3 days
of action.
So you got to figure out ways to pay those other days.
Yeah.
And that was never an appealing thought to me, especially with the type of events that I was doing. But I think now with the experiences that I've had and where we are technologically speaking, economically as a world, I think that having a venue now would be a lot easier, even in the COVID era. I mean, we as we talked about earlier, we are in COVID. COVID is here to stay.
Yeah.
People are not going to stop going out. It's only going to progress. We just have to learn to live with it.
So that made me think, like, because that kind of Detroit Diaspora, I love that brand. But one of the challenges always is venues in this city.
Yeah.
And the venue challenge is like it's layered.
Yeah.
Because it's great venues with not good parking.
Yeah. Right.
Or it's great parking and not good venue.
That's right.
Or it's venues, but the neighborhood, it's gonna be tough for what that offering could be.
That's right.
Of getting your audience to that neighborhood or that space.
That's right.
Like it's tough.
Yeah, it's tough. And somebody else dubbed Urban Organic this some time ago. They said, Drake, Urban Organic is the original pop-up in Detroit. And I said, I never thought about it like that. But in some ways, I guess that has been the case. Popping up from venue to venue, because never had a set home. It's, kind of like Papa was a Rolling Stone. Wherever we leave our hat was our home. We would go to one place to another, which I thought was always the ideal thing to do, because I always like shedding light on these different venues that we would go to. But you're right. You always have either the great venue, poor parking, wonderful parking, not so hot venue. And so trying to balance those two things,
or great venue,
or something,
great venue,
something.
no, you got to bring in all the audio. Yeah, you already saw where I was going. Bring in a stage,
not good seating or staging, or whatever you know. It's a myriad of things that need to balance out half the time. I mean, all the time, for you to be able to have the ideal situation. But nothing is really ever ideal, right? You always have to do workarounds in the event business. And so I think one of the things that it's one of the things I enjoy doing, finding solutions to those obvious issues. Like even with, we're on West Grand Boulevard. West Grand Boulevard, although in the press release I dubbed it as Detroit's most musical boulevard, which I don't think anybody could argue otherwise.
Yep.
It is that. But it's also got some other things about it that might not make it Detroit's most desirable boulevard.
I'm a Northwestern graduate. I usually run the track at Northwestern on Tuesdays and Sundays, so I'm always passing by there. And it's close to, I'm forgetting the other place that's like it's next to. But I've never been in that venue. I've always wondered, because the way their logo is with the clothes that lead up to the eye, I'm like, that's an interesting logo.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. But you're right. Like, it's spaces like that are amazing spaces, but getting and welcoming the people and the onboarding, and then even like spaces like that, because you are still within community, like sharing that space becomes something.
It becomes something. And so, this is really, I like venues I like an assortment of venues. This is not our a downtown venue. This is a neighborhood venue. Yeah. A neighborhood art gallery. The LaSalle Garden neighborhood, to be exact. And it's going to feel like a neighborhood.
And that's always been what I've loved about it. And I've learned from you, like, yeah, you do, the Renaissance Center December 1st, then January 1st, you're in like a niche couture boutique.
Yeah. Yeah.
With the same energy.
Yeah.
Like it's all but it's still a different call to action. So it may definitely, it's not going to be the full list of people you invited to the Renaissance Center event because it had a bigger call to action. Yes. But it's still niche and specific for who that audience is.
Yes. And that same person, one thing I like about these events is this, you ever see the person that's by day, you know them as the successful professional, the physician or lawyer or accountant, whatever, business person. Mm-hmm. And they're in that discourse community. Well, I like it when those people, I like to invite people who are free to be who they are, not what they are. You see what I'm saying? And there's a distinction I like to make, with that statement. I don't want you to have to come in and feel like you need to be whatever your vocation is. I want you to be able to come in and be what your spirit leads you to be, your creative self. I want you to be in touch and in tune and free with your creativity, and so that you can just loosen up and have a good time and it not be about that. I want all the pretense to be out of the air, to be wiped out of the air. I mean, you can never get rid of all of it because we're humans, but I want that to be in the background.
That's heavy. So I'm going to wrap with this. So with the events changing, certain things changing in the city of Detroit, even like the district Detroit, what excites you about what's to come just with Detroit events coming up? And it may not even just be your events. It could just be period. What excites you about what's to come with event planning and some of these cultural experiences that will happen in Detroit? We see Mopop happening. Yeah. African World Festival is back in Hart Plaza.
In July now.
Yeah, that was a little different. Yeah. But still, what's exciting you about what's to come with events here in the city?
I'm excited that there's new venues opening up. I know Jen from Mean Red is opening up an old Chinese, Stanley's Chinese, which was over in the...
like right on the cusp of like 8 Mile and Woodward.
Yeah, but not that one. There was another one that's over near I forget the name of the neighborhood, but it's over near the Greyhound. I mean, not the Greyhound.
Oh,
the
near
Amtrak
I know exactly
train
what
station.
You're talking about, like right, basically in like New Center,
yes,
quote unquote,
it's a building,
Midtown.
Yeah, it's a building that was developed by an African American architect, over 50 years ago, maybe 60 years ago. It sits there, lots of deferred maintenance. It's dilapidated right now, but she's going to bring that back. It's going to be a 300-seater venue. We have the City Winery, which City Winery has locations in Nashville, Atlanta, Chicago, D.C., New York, a number of other markets, and they'll be coming here this fall. I'm excited about that because what that means is it underscores Detroit's reputation as a live music city, that we're open for business as it relates to live music, and it also will create a competitive lane for them. I'll have some competition for what I do, but it also will help me to be able to communicate to individuals who the type of artists that I'm bringing to town are, because they'll be doing the same thing.
I do have this, on that same point, I have this question because I didn't think that I was going to follow up like this, but even with a lot of studio, I got a call from attorney Gregory Reed, entertainment attorney, and he was like, I want to help you with this, like the Entertainment Commission. And we had a little talk about the Middle Entertainment Commission, and I was like, and he was telling me, because he was one of the four minds that like built what Detroit's Entertainment Commission was. Yes. And he was like, yeah, man, the city can help you with this. They need to help you with this. This is an interesting community-based thing. And I told him, I was like, yeah, man, I know some members in council. I've even known some people on the entertainment commission, but I don't think they even understand the functionality of what a commission can be. Watch those Riverwise Detroit is Different interviews for the people listening to find out the difference between like task force, commission, and just the connections of what can be made. Because he was like, yeah, man, Nashville has like millions of dollars that go into their entertainment commission. Hence, that keeps their strips open for live music to exist. What do you think there's a relationship that needs to like begin happening that that people such as yourself and me engage in are partnered with the state and the city and the county to execute this stuff? Or should we keep functioning in our own like lane's niche? Like, what does that look like moving forward? Because like I kind of was like, hey, let's roll the dice. I'm gonna see what can happen with it, but I'm not holding my breath.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with pulling yourself up by your own bootstraps. I mean, it's a great thing to be able to do that, and it makes for a wonderful story, and it makes for wonderful storytelling, because most of the time, people who have achieved great success in the arts arena, they have not necessarily done it on their own bootstraps. There's funding.
It's always, that's always a lot. That bootstrap theory. That rugged individualism these white folks talk about. It don't exist.
It don't exist. And so I think any smart city that wants to attract a creative class of individuals who want to move to that city or that region would be smart to be able to. I mean, I think that one of the silliest things that was done was when Snyder was governor, is to erase the film tax credit, because the film industry dried up just like that. But people were making money off the film industry. I mean,
it was just getting
started.
Yeah,
but people were starting to make money. It was just starting to get going, So he set the city and the state back, I don't know how far back, but significantly. And so I think, looking at what was starting to happen, and what has happened as a result of the cancellation of those credits, we actually have a case study for what happens when a municipality pours into the arts, pours into its creative community. You actually help to create an industry that was prior to that non-existent or
very scarce.
Yeah. Stumbling along.
Investment versus divestment. What that looks like. That's very interesting. So we think of certain large cause action, like the NFL draft will be coming here next year.
Yeah.
And who should be at the table like making these decisions, as we know some of these other cities like that we know that are more tourist attractions, because that's the other thing that happens.
Right.
Detroit, as much as we are well known for artists that have impacted the world, the industry of entertainment is not the Detroit call to action.
No.
So us in the space are like kind of working against the grain.
Yeah.
So do you think, like, in a perfect world, how does a perfect world, in what you see, how are people such as yourself included in what happens if the NFL draft comes to Detroit? How are you included in that?
Well, I ultimately, if you believe in the trickle-down theory, I always know that I'm going to get a call.
Yeah.
Or a number of calls from a number of different individuals who are in negotiation with some facet of that commission or that committee, I should say. I know I'll get some roundabout call. I don't know in what capacity, how that will look. But as far as I'm concerned, the time for getting that call, because that call, I feel oftentimes is the trickle-down call.
So it comes like if the draft is in May, that call comes like in March.
Yeah.
You feel like that call should be coming now, ideally?
That's right. That call should be coming now or in March. When the decision is made, that call should be made then.
And then how much does your expertise at that table, because like, the city knows from the city's perspective, the political people.
Correct.
But like, how advantageous, like when we look at some of these other cities, New Orleans, Nashville, LA, New York, like cities with stronger relationships to what this entertainment offering, and it's unique because one of the first things people say when they go to a city, what's to do here? Even, I don't know the last time you went to Milwaukee, but Milwaukee's
I've
now
never been to Milwaukee. In fact, it's actually
on the list.
It's on the list of cities I want to visit,
Yeah.
and not because Milwaukee is this city that has this strong allure, but it's something about. I mean, Milwaukee. I've visited just about all the other Midwestern cities, and Milwaukee is one that
you haven't. So like the investments happening there. Or here's a classic one. I don't know the last time you've been to Columbus, Ohio, but Columbus, Ohio, in a matter of like I want to say like 20 years, they've.
Oh yeah. Oh, Columbus is on fire.
Become
it's
like
the largest city in Ohio now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like in 20 years, it's like almost went from like, what do you do here? Like, oh, I guess you got Ohio State and whatever else. Where now the city of Columbus kind of looms larger than Ohio State University.
Oh yeah, Columbus is sweet. You know, that city is doing something right, and you know, I think we can take some notes from. And you know what? I used to take issue when I would hear people like Richard Florida who wrote on the creative class. I think that was the name of his book in the early 2000s. And I went to go see him speak at the Orchestra Hall. I was part of one of those booster organizations back then. I was on the board. I can't even think of the name of it now. Not New Detroit, Detroit something. Anyway, it's disbanded. It's been disbanded for years. But one of the things I think Richard Florida actually had right, I've come to appreciate, especially after having visited some of these cities that he referenced, like Pittsburgh. You know, he talked about eds and meds and utilizing education in medical institutions to help improve neighborhoods and make them more livable for all the citizens, not just for the wealthiest, not just for the most well-endowed, but for everybody. And I didn't quite understand what that meant until after seeing like a place like Pittsburgh, after seeing a place like Columbus, and saying, wow, that whole eds and meds kind of philosophy, he has a point. You know, it just has to be shored up. I mean, I think even Grand Rapids has that eds and meds.
Oh, it's
You know, so
you know,
Grand
of course,
Rapids
today ain't like what Grand Rapids was when I first visited in like '98.
That's right. I mean, you know, my grandparents, my father's from Grand Rapids. My grandparents grew up there. My father grew up there part of his life, and I used to go there.
Couldn't wait to get back to Detroit.
I could not wait.
Now you probably chill for a second.
I could stay for a day.
Yeah, a day,
I can stay.
maybe two.
I can stay. Anybody from Grand
I
Rapids who's listened to this, I like Grand Rapids. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
In fact, shout out to Scott Welch, who is my dude up there. Scott Welch is part of. He runs an organization called Global Bridge Builders, and he is truly a global bridge builder. He is, you know, Grand Rapids has never had the reputation of being the most diverse place in the world, but through Scott's work, it's becoming a much more diverse place, and as a result of the work he's done, I've been able to do all sorts of events in Grand Rapids through a fund that they have that is available to African Americans.
So this is kind of like what you're talking about, like where a municipality or other groups or basically other entities and institutions of a city must engage artistry, because that artistry is going to be the call to action to welcome people that feel grounded in the city.
That's right. So we, you know, and I'm sorry I didn't mention this earlier. You know, the partnership that I've had with Scott Welch and Global Bridge Builders in Grand Rapids has allowed me to do events in the DeVault Center there, in the listening room there. Myers Garden is something that we are planning on doing some events next year, some programming that is sorely needed in that place, you know, and it's kind of, people like him have made that place even sweeter. But yeah, you know, wrapping it all up, I know it's getting late. I gotta, you know.
Yeah. I
you
love
know
what
anybody
you gave.
listening to this is probably like Drake Phifer's all over the place. Drake and Kari all over the place.
Yeah,
I hope
yeah.
what we have said today makes a little bit of sense. And so that's all I can say. I hope it makes a little bit of sense, and I hope somebody got something out of it. I did thank you, Kari, for asking me to come over here to promote my upcoming event this upcoming Sunday, May 29th from noon to 10 at the Irwin House Gallery located at 2351 West Grand Boulevard. We're going to do a tribute to Zana Smith, to Amp Fiddler. We're going to feature two wonderful Detroit visual artists, Yolanda Nichelle and Anzi Norman, and we're going to have some funky DJs, funky in a good way. Some wonderful DJs for you, and we're going to have a great offering of all sorts of stuff that you'll see when you get there. So
Perfect.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
UrbanOrganic.net.
Thank you so much.
Urban-organic.net. You might have to go back and say that.
I'm going to put it on the lower third for you.
Okay. Thank you,
All right,
man.
peace.
Peace.
Black revolutionaries, distillery owners, Italian fashion retailers, and Motown Grammy winners all share their best stories never before told in any other media outlets on Detroit is Different. Visit DetroitisDifferent.com or download the Detroit is Different app on Apple's App Store or Google's Play Store.